Good morning, Facebook. I'm Storm Track Meteorologist Nate Harrington. Well, it has begun. We have 3 different active tropical cyclones in the Atlantic Basin. We've got Hurricane Gaston, which is way out in the Atlantic. We'll get to that in a second. We've got Tropical Depression number 8, which is actually very close to the Outer Banks of North Carolina. We'll talk about that in a second too, but all eyes are really for our area on the tropics here in the Straits of Florida, near Cuba, and the Gulf of Mexico. Now, Tropical Depression number 9 was designated last night, and if you can find the center of circulation where we normally track these things from, good job to you, because I can't find it, but that's where the Hurricane Center says it is, just to the west of Havana, Cuba. And this is as of the latest advisory at 11 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Central Time. So very disorganized system. Normally when we look at tropical storms or tropical depressions that are organized, the center of circulation would have a bunch of thunderstorm activity and dense overcast right over it, and that just is not the case with Tropical Depression number 9. Here is the radar imagery though. Plenty of rain. That's definitely what we've got. We've got showers from western Cuba all the way through the Florida Straits, in the Bahamas, the east coast of Florida, and then some unrelated rainfall up through Houston and also the coastal sections of Louisiana, which don't need it, so hopefully it stays offshore. But we have a tropical system. This is Tropical Depression number 9. So this is what's going to happen over the next 24 to 36 hours. And actually, I had put some pause points in that graphic, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to go back. And this is actually the latest advisory. So still moving west barely at around 7 miles per hour, winds of only 35. It's still a very weak tropical depression. We expect this tropical depression to move to the north, and by Tuesday morning, right around 7 o'clock, we expect it to become a tropical storm. Now, depending on if the tropical depression number 8, which is near the Outer Banks, gets formed first, that'll depend on what it's called. So, of course, we'll keep you posted on that. So, by Tuesday night, it starts to make a little turn to the north. We've got a ridge of high pressure in control now, but a trough of low pressure is going to come in and actually steer this thing back toward Florida. And you can see the cone of uncertainty is what we like to call it. This is a very wide range of outcomes. You go from Panama City Beach all the way down to south of Tampa. This is Manatee, Sarasota County. We're talking about, I don't know, 300 miles of coastline to cover, and then all this inland area. So there is a lot of uncertainty with this storm, and this is the forecast track as of Thursday at 8 o'clock in the morning. It is forecast to be a tropical storm and impact the Big Bend coast of Florida. Then it moves out of Florida, picks up some forward speed, and moves into the western Atlantic off the Carolina coast by Friday morning. So, as you can see, there is a large range of outcomes with Tropical Depression number 9. The biggest factor in this is the upper level winds. It's not very favorable for tropical development right now. It is moving over some very warm water in the Gulf of Mexico, but you need a lot of different ingredients to come together to have tropical storms and hurricanes strengthen, and we just don't have all those ingredients just yet. So here's the track, and as you can see, it takes it away from the Alabama coastline. This is basically going to be a Florida storm. And the good news is all the model tracks are in pretty good agreement. All of our computer model, the tracks are in good agreement. The intensity forecasts are all over the map. They go from a weak tropical storm to a Category 1 hurricane once it hits Florida. So there is a wide range of outcomes with this, and we still have to watch this over the next probably 24 to 36 hours to know exactly what it's going to do. But right now, it steers it away from the Alabama coast, and basically anywhere east of Panama City, you're going to see that's where the biggest chance for this to make landfall will be. The other part of this will be the rainfall. A lot of rain in Florida. We're talking 4, 5, 6 inches along where it makes landfall, possibly. This is just one model, but in some spots along the coast, they could pick up anywhere from 6 to 7 inches of rain. And you see during this whole time, look at this, very scarce rain around central Alabama. So we can get all hyped up about the tropical systems, and we can, believe the hype if we want to, but know right now that things are looking pretty good as far as we are concerned with the tropical situation. We should not be impacted by it. However, I do want to caution everybody to don't believe immediately what you read on Facebook or Twitter. We talked about this last week or on the internet, and this is a very popular website right here. Sebastian, come on around. This is the Daily Mail. This is a UK-based website that posts a lot of American news too. Here's the headline. Hurricane Gaston becomes the first major hurricane of the season and threatens Florida and North Carolina. There is only one part of that headline that is true. Hurricane Gaston became the first major hurricane of the season. It's way out in the Atlantic. Underneath that, these are the bullet points. A tropical storm warning has been issued for the coasts of North Carolina and Florida. False. Hurricane Gaston is southeast of Cape Hatteras. False. The storm should pass offshore of the Outer Banks of North Carolina on Tuesday. False. And Florida officials are worried about the storm dumping water and exacerbating concerns about the Zika virus. False. All of those things are true about other storms and not Hurricane Gaston. So you have to really do some digging, ask somebody who knows before you take what you read online through any source and believe it and run with it and tell everybody and freak everybody out. Because that's normally what happens in these situations. When the tropics get ramped up every single year, something gets happened, there's a miscommunication, somebody reads something that's not exactly true, and we end up having mass hysteria, people buying bread and milk and water and all that stuff at the grocery store. And we get blamed when we tell you, well, that's not how it's going to be, and we get blamed for it. So that's my little soapbox. But does anybody have any questions about the tropical situation, what's going on right now?
Nothing really about that, no.
Okay. Well, around here, basically our forecast is mostly dry. And nice feeling morning this morning. It actually felt kind of crisp outside. I sat outside for a little while and it didn't feel like an absolute sauna, so that was good. But very dry-ish around, maybe some showers for the afternoons. Not a whole lot of rain for us for the next several days. Of course, we'll watch where this tropical system goes. If it happens to change directions, we might get a little bit more rain out of it, but that's really it. There's not going to be any more impacts, really, except for the rain chances that we might get if this thing does change direction, and of course we'll let you know. But right now, it looks like the tropical system, tropical depression number 9, and if it does turn into a tropical storm, should not impact either coastal Alabama or here in central Alabama. So don't believe everything you read, and make sure you're asking your friendly Storm Track meteorologist if you have any questions. So we'll wrap it up. If you have any questions, leave them at the comment section below. We'll try to get to them later on today. Thanks, everybody.